Okay, pirates on the bridge. It's driving me a bit nuts. So all I can do is just, as these ideas come, just try and get them down because they seem important. If they're not, they're not. They may be. Yes. So I've only scribbled this. It's the three-body axis problem. Here's the thought experiment. You've got this mechanism, and you're assuming 360 spherical freedom at this point, which is physically impossible. There must be some restriction of motion somewhere if you try to construct this mechanism. But I want you to assume that it's buildable, because I'm going to build it through Lewe. And then I want you to assume it's in free fall, so it's falling. What will it do? What will it do? If you look at the GIF that that was on just 2 days ago, that it creates a sphere and it can create torus patterns, shapes, and it can do all of that. But if it'll settle into a pattern. So it starts in, it'll go from you drop it and it'll go through a pattern, is what I'm proposing, based on the forces that it experiences of gravity. So the only force that's on this mechanism is gravity. What will it do? What pattern will it build if we can take this idea of the total freedom at this axis point? And then you can build Lewe's model, my extension of Lewe from Euler's axis theorem, to build a force field. Literally a force field is created from these expansive and compressive forces that looks like this. This is an arrangement of forces. The only thing that actually exists here is that piece of ice which is formed at the point of maximum density, floating on this vortex of vacuum above, meters to the minus cubed, c squared light below, but the light is expressing itself above here in the firmament. So that point also exists, which is the point of the y-axis, and it's anchored to mass, to the planet. So it's nice to assume it as a pyramid. So you can have a square axis, y-axis, as a pyramid to the point. You then have the completely fluid action of force, pure force, tension and bending, if you like. Just when you can see one as bending, one as tension, expressing itself, trying to find a balance, whips itself up into a whirlpool, to a vortex, sitting here, acting upside down on this piece of ice that formed there, matter. So you've got a matter here and matter there. So that the bending, but these two places want to be together. They want to gravitate, they should be the same place. But this mechanism is pushing, is going that way. And it's spinning this way in its force field. So it creates its own force field of an electromagnetic wave. Torus is created around that piece of ice, within that pi area there. And so it's a force field, it floats, it's totally bearing free. So the solution to the rigid body problem is that there must be a point of complete rotation. Absolute motion exists, and there it is, that spins non-stop, totally frictionless. Look pretty, doesn't it? Look what happens here. We get a beam of light comes out of the center, and this is obviously our wobbly axis that's coming out of this. We've got a true y-axis I've drawn in as a reference, but this is our axis, the wobbly one. Yeah, look at the balance, man. And it proves that the point here must be nothing. There must be nothing existing at the center of that piece of spin. The spin must have a reference, an inertial frame, and there it is. And it looks like that. You could imagine it as a sphere with a dot in it, and the dot is the sphere, and the sphere is the dot, and it exists in both those places at the same time. Solution to the double slit experiment. We live here. Our experience of existence is in this beam of light. We observe motion in the past and in the future. So we observe the future first, So we can act in the past to affect what we see in the future. So the motion that goes past, future, now, past, future, now, past, future, now in each moment within the force field. And that's why that symbol is consciousness. That's where it's created, where there's nothing else. So that our strength is our H. So I draw that really badly. But we're pushing. We're pushing it out. Pushing out from that center of consciousness. The eye of the axis. Awareness. If you want to build a solar system, sorry, again, it's very sketchy, from this mechanism now, so I've explained how we can have a 360 spherical freedom joint. It's made of forces. It's a force field. So there's no restriction to its motion. It's never going to hit itself. It can't. It doesn't exist. And here's that arrangement in terms of our, I split it to the solar system. So I've got my Earth, Moon, dimensional entity, Sun. The Sun and the Moon dimensional entity are plasma light comes this way, which is water. And water with a different quality goes that way, back out again as light. Light K, it's different. So the light that comes in has been converted via water and it's different going out. That's the system on that side. And it maintains a light force field between, it holds those two entities together. And then the Earth and the Moon, dimensional entity, are connected by this. This is space. There it is. So this is orthogonal. That's perpendicular. That's orthogonal. Each has a different bending. This one is pi. This is EI pi to the real pi, golden ratio pi. This is the opposite reaction to this perpendicular is orthogonal, and it's I pi natural. And then this is the return journey. The I is gone. We've got angular momentum, and it's the relationship between pi natural and pi real here that decides on what happens at the center point, the locus. So in the model of the solar system we build, it's not a geocentric world. It's the locus. It's the locus between the Earth and the Moon that's the focal point of our existence. This diameter can be measured as a time duration of h. The whole system, one rotation takes h seconds. And the relationship of h is related to the speed of light c. And so this dimension is h over 2, which is pi, equals pi, real. Should be pi real, 3.144. And that's perfection. We've attained maximum potential. That this is we are in this shape at the beginning of a moment, and at the end of the moment we can occupy the red line. That's as much as we can expand using this force here. That little bit, but it affects our dimension of h. This is why it's too big now. So what's wrong with us is that this is out of focus. There's a gap there, it's too big. I drew it like this. Here's one coming in, here's one coming in, 0. Yeah, so there's 0. Here's the one energy coming, here's the other angular momentum coming. They're different. These angular momentums create spin. If this is too big, then that spin's wrong. It's out of balance. And you measure it through h, and if it's 6.66, it means the magnetic pulse which will come. So I just wanted to get that out. And now that's done. And I'm gonna get on with my day and go and see my dad. Wish me luck. Welcome to New Earth.